I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good morning, JC Preston. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
Fantastic, sir. Couldn't be better. Looking forward to some awesome things I got later today. Gonna be doing some stuff with a group that's out of Collaborate 317.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, really looking forward to some of the stuff that we got going on. So
Yeah. Tell us, what part of the world are you in?
I'm hailing from the middle of the Midwest, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, sweet. And tell us more about what you're speaking about with Collab 317.
All right, so Collaborate 317 started off as a nonprofit, more or less to help people with financial issues. They found some space. It was a group of guys that were financial investors. They ended up finding some space that they've ended up turning into an incubator and a work area. There's a media room. There's a workshop room that can hold like 25 people. There's an event room that can hold up to 200. Just a lot of cool things. And right now we're actually starting a nonprofit initiative where we're going to be putting up a grant for $250,000 for nonprofits to come out to the space and work for free, essentially.
Wow. How exciting is that? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're not hearing it in my voice, but wow, it's like my dream to see. Wow. If you had to paint the image of the energy that would be created there, right, with the collaboration, right, what color would you put it in?
Oh, color. Blue.
Yeah.
Very much blue.
Yeah. It's an amazing opportunity. So, tell us more about what you do, JC. Tell us what you bring to market.
So basically, my podcast is called the Angles of Latitude podcast, which I've been airing it was a weekly show for the last 2 years, and recently I've moved it back to a bi-weekly show as I have started developing a group on Facebook called the Junto. And the Junto, if you're not familiar with the term, comes from the Spanish word juntos, which means together. And Benjamin Franklin back in the day actually started a very similar, under the same name, Junto, a club that he would get with local business owners, and they would have a kind of a meeting of what they could do to improve each other, business-wise, personal development-wise, and their community as well. So.
Wow. So who did you learn this? It seems as though the theme of today with the podcast recording is definitely community building, right?
Right.
Who did you learn that skill from?
Oh, shoot. Well, it's just one of those things that I've kind of picked up on over time. I was in junior leaders when I was back in 4-H growing up, and I ended up getting my master's degree in organizational leadership. And when I was at Purdue, I also had the opportunity to be in Alpha Phi Omega, which was a co-ed service fraternity that we would do a lot of service projects around the community. So I guess it's just something that I've naturally always been brought into, and I'm more of the connector. It's like I try to always connect, great ideas with great people. Yeah. And vice versa.
Yeah. Now, being that person, it doesn't always work. You're sharing what's happening now with the incubator, but I'm sure there would have been challenges, right? And there will be challenges in the future. A lot you'll definitely get over. But why will you continue to repeat the skill of connecting in spite of that?
Well, because I think it comes down to knowing what your mission is in life. One of my interviews that I had not too long ago was with a new friend of mine. His name is David Anderson. He does international trading and things like that. In fact, he's going to be he's like going to be running a department or organization from Chicago, which is based in Africa. And so anyway, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, he's going to have to go over there a couple times, but it's just really interesting. But anyway, I mean, David talks about in his TEDx speech about really just, you have to have a mission. It doesn't, yeah, you can have a passion. Yeah, you can have a purpose. Yeah, you can have a process of doing something. But if you put that all together, that's what, he doesn't make the link. That's more of my link, but he talks about having a mission and having a statement. And that if you're following it every day, then you're doing the best that you can to achieve. And part of mine, again, is just, knowing who I am as a community and people builder, and whether it works out or whether it doesn't work out day to day, at least I know that I'm fulfilling the right role, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that. It's like simmering, right? It's the point where you're simmering at the place that you are created to be, right?
Right.
And yeah, it's simmering. That's pretty intriguing. Well, JC, tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
One thing, well, I guess I haven't done the podcast that long yet. Over the last 3 years, I mean, I'm a pretty avid reader. I've always been, try to read as much as I can. Definitely kind of an internet geek, I guess you could say. So definitely, I'm not a Facebook person. I'm more of a Reddit junkie.
Right.
And so I'm always on top of that. Another thing is that I'm pretty libertarian, and my views of how, like really focused on, the individual, I guess you could say, when it comes to policy and all that sort of stuff. So I try to tune into all that sort of thing that's going on. So yeah, just, I guess pulling in information that's relative to, again, being the connector that I am as much as I can, so.
Makes sense. How does it make you feel?
Fulfilled, and it'd be nice to, and that's what we're doing with the incubator, but be able to monetize more of the skill set. But I think it's coming together with the Junto, so.
Yeah, yep. I believe it will. Hey, Zig Ziglar says, hey, help enough other people get what they want, and you will definitely get what you want. So, I mean, hats off to what you're doing. Suggest to someone out there why they should even consider doing what you've done by really taking the connecting aspect a step forward.
Right. Well, I think you said it right there, is that if you help enough people, do what if they help enough people do what they want to do, then they're going to get it in return. It might not turn up right away, but I guess I don't want to say that that's been one of my mantras, but ever since I heard that definition or what Zig said, it's just like, well, yeah, duh, sort of thing.
We knew that, right? Yeah, I think. We knew that, right?
right.
Yeah.
So, no, and I just, it's just being able to bring value to people. People. People don't. I think this John Maxwell talks about the thing. It's people don't care what you know until they know how much you care, sort of thing. Yeah. And so when you're bringing people value all the time and trying to get them to engage in things they might not necessarily normally engage in, and just stretching their mind on a regular basis, I think it's really fulfilling if you do it in a correct way and a non-manipulative way, because believe me, there's a way to do that. But at the same time, if you're building influence with people, that's the way to. That's when you know that you're going in the right direction. So,
I love it. Amazing audience. We are live with JC Preston. Do check out his podcast, right? The Angles of Latitude. He has the in the same color he has podcasting, right? And then the Angles of Latitude, he took the angles and that is in the same color, but then he let the L be in white as well. So the attitude is in red, right? So boom.
Correct.
No,
Correct.
the angles of attitude, but latitude, right? I did that
Right.
purposely, right? Well, JC, let's switch gears for a moment and let me now invite you into my time machine. I also with the beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. JC, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Earliest childhood memory. I guess my earliest memories always involve travel, I guess you could say. One that comes up to mind is me with my mom seeing my grandfather go off into a subway of sorts. I don't know where that city was, but I just remember that happening. Maybe it was a train. I'm not quite sure. But and then another time was me in like a Victorian bed and breakfast sort of situation, that there were mountains outside, or maybe a poster of mountains. I'm not sure, but anyway, there was. It seemed, if I want to put it in context as an adult, I would say it was probably like a wedding reception or something like that.
Yeah.
And just again, it was somewhere that I had had to sit in a car for several hours, and there's just all these people just doing all these cool things, and it was like, oh, I want to be an adult. So
How old do you think you were in the first that popped up?
probably 3, and then I probably got to be 5.
Wow. Why do you think this memory is so clear, JC?
Yeah, just again, I think it's related to the traveling and seeing the world, so to speak, and just seeing what's out there, because that was always something that even when I was in high school, I never really played ball with the local people in my town. I was the one of the first people that was actually actively going out on the internet and talking to people from across the world, the web. Like this is like 96, 97, sort of thing. So
this is dial-up
Yep.
years.
Yep. 56K, man. That was the time.
I love it. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. This conversation is going to be the third of back-to-back car experiences of traveling that people share, right? Which is fascinating to me in the random way that connected, right? Because one is from Maryland, one is from South Carolina, and now Indianapolis, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, it's really intriguing, the journey and how it helps expand your mind, as well as the community aspect that seems built in there, of what you're doing now by being the connector. And like the young lady right before you, I said, it's getting to be in the passenger seat and then becoming the driver who allows other people to then be in the passenger seat, which is pretty fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah. And well, that can dive into a whole sub conversation of personalities and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. But if we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Probably "Wake Me Up Before You Go" by Wham.
Yeah. It's funny how it connects, though, right? It's like, yeah. Your grandfather is going in the subway, wake me up before you go. You're in the car, wake me up before you go. But yeah, so anyway, so we've arrived, JC, at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to go pretty quickly here, JC. JC, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
No.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Unfortunately, more.
JC, after having 1,001 conversations in 2016, in 3 months, I came up with a workbook, and the name of it is called Yours, and it stands for your own unique real self. Connected to that is your own unique real statement. If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, your mission, if you would, something that represents JC Preston, what would you say that is?
I just recently connected with this quote not too long ago, and I think it explains a lot for me and a lot for other people. You're not going to master the rest of your life in one day. Just relax, master the day, and then just keep doing that every day.
Ooh, love that. Ooh, JC Preston, hey, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Just figure out you guys. Frankly, I mean, that's what my podcast is all about, is just, talking to people, amazing people that have found out who they are, the work that capitalizes on that, and just building a lifestyle around that. And do that for yourself. And that's what life's about. So go out there and figure it out. So find your mission.
Love it. JC Preston, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.